Hey everyone, welcome back to Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and it is the inaugural episode in the trial of Sean Combs. Now, if you haven't caught up with the Diddy saga, that was everything taking place up until about a month ago. So go back and listen to the ones that maybe you haven't listened to yet. I think I stopped at 27 episodes of the Diddy saga. So make sure you check that out. But going forward, we're starting the new series, The Trial of Diddy. This is episode 1. Now, I want to say this right off the bat because there's some differences in the way a federal trial takes place and the way a state trial takes place. For example, no cameras are allowed in the courtroom for a federal trial. So I won't be able to use clips from the actual testimony of people that testified both on Sean Combs' behalf and on the federal government's behalf. However, they're going to have updates every single day. I'm going to bring you the updates as I get them. I do have some people, I guess you could say on the inside, that are going to be assisting me with some breaking news. Nothing illegal. This isn't people leaking information. It's just people that are actually going to be inside the courtroom. So I'll be bringing you all that as I get it. And a lot has happened since last time I even talked about Sean Combs, which wasn't too long ago. I think maybe I dropped an episode 3 weeks ago or so. But I'm going to catch you up for March 14th when the following article came out in the New York Times. One of the most well-written articles I've come across in a while. And it reads like this: in a full room of cubicles, workers in headsets read from their computer screens addressing callers who dialed a 1-800 number. They have a script, quote, "Were you or your loved ones sexually abused by Sean Love Combs, known as Diddy, Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy? Quote, if the abuse occurred at a party, please list the name of that party. What kind of party was it? Their employer, Reciprocity Industries, is a legal services company located in the low-slung buildings of Billings, Montana, more than 2,000 miles from the Brooklyn jail where Mr. Combs awaits trial on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges. For years, the company has helped seed litigation by fielding complaints from people hurt by natural disasters, weed killers, or abusive clergy. Now, it's the central collection point for sexual assault allegations against Mr. Combs. Some complaints come in through the phone, others arrive online in response to ads promoted on Facebook and Instagram. By the company's count, it has received some 26,000 contacts. It has deemed hundreds of complaints worthy of review, and already the lead lawyer handling these cases, Tony Busby, a high-profile litigator from Houston, has filed nearly 40 lawsuits against Mr. Combs, and he says more are coming. Plaintiffs say he raped them. They say they were minors at the time. The accounts are often similar: a drink at a party, unusual wooziness, and a sexual assault. All were initially filed anonymously. Quote, the plaintiff has experienced a significant impact on her personal life, lawyers made in a suit that accused Mr. Combs of assaulting a woman in a hotel in 2014. The cases against Mr. Combs, who denies assaulting anyone, amount to what's called a mass tort, in which many people, often drawn in by advertising, file claims against a common defendant. This growing area of the law has long been divisive. Lawyers for plaintiffs say the cases foster justice for those who have suffered at the hands of powerful people and institutions, such as former Boy Scouts who were sexually abused. But critics say mass torts and the advertising often aligned with them can draw frivolous claims and are haphazardly vetted, and that sheer volume of cases can overwhelm both the court system and defense teams. It will be months, perhaps years, before settlements, dismissals, or verdicts resolve whether Mr. Combs was a serial predator. But his lawyers are already challenging the ways in which many of the cases have been collected. Quote, we have seen a very high volume of dubious cases. Mark Caccaro, one of Mr. Combs' lawyers, told a judge at a hearing in January. Mr. Combs denies sexually assaulting anyone and has pleaded not guilty to the criminal charges. His lawyers say the deluge of suits is not evidence of guilt, only proof that some people will seek to feed off financial settlements from a wealthy celebrity. One case was withdrawn last month after a plaintiff who said she had been raped by Mr. Combs and the rapper Jay-Z when she was 13 acknowledged making mistakes in her account in an interview with NBC News. Her allegations have precipitated a contentious legal battle involving private investigators and courts in multiple states. In another Combs case, aspects of an anonymous man's lawsuit accusing Mr. Combs of rape, including the year, were amended after inconsistencies emerged in his interview with CNN. Mr. Busby said those issues should not affect other cases. Quote, "I've always said that each case lives and dies on its own merit. The increase in mass torts related to sexual abuse has been driven in part by laws established in the Me Too era that extended new opportunities for plaintiffs who did not bring claims during the typical statute of limitations. The legal landscape changed dramatically in 1977 when the Supreme Court ruled that the prohibition against lawyer advertising violated the First Amendment. Soon, lawyers' faces and testimonials were popping up in newspapers and on television. Rules developed by the court and bar associations restricted lawyers, generally, from calling people injured in, say, a car crash to ask if they can represent them. But advertising a lawyer's services in a public forum and, in some cases, tailoring the message to a particular group of potential plaintiffs is allowed. Rules prohibit false and misleading ads. Disciplinary action for infractions is uncommon, experts say, but court disciplinary bodies do review ads in response to complaints. Spending on mass tort television advertising has averaged about $190 million per year over the past decade, according to Ex Ante, a data analyst company. But social media has become the new frontier. And I read you that section because the commonality of these mass tort lawsuits is important in the amount of money invested in them. And look, there is no doubt that people jump on bandwagons. If you have, say, 100 cases, there's probably about 20% of those are really just people trying to get money. But that still leaves 80%, right? So some interesting information there. And the next thing we're going to talk about is Sean Combs' life inside prison. What's it been like since he's been inside that Brooklyn detention center? How does a billionaire handle that? And he's not the only billionaire in that prison. I'm going to reference this article from New York Times that came out April 14th. It's very eye-opening. Sean Combs' hair and beard, once jet black, are gray now. Hair dye is not allowed at the Metropolitan Detention Center. Breakfast is at 7 a.m. The exercise room has yoga mats and a small basketball hoop. The communal space in the dorm-style housing he's been assigned to has ping pong and television. There is phone access that has allowed him to speak to the rapper Ye, and also to his children, who on his 55th birthday serenaded him on speakerphone. Quote, "Thank y'all for being strong and thank y'all for being on my side," Mr. Combs said in a video released by his family. The Brooklyn jail has drawn complaints over the years as a place filled with mold, vermin, and neglect, which the Federal Bureau of Prisons has pledged to address. For nearly 7 months, its most famous tenant has been Mr. Combs, who is awaiting trial in the circumstances far removed from the life of personal chefs and enormous mansions that he once enjoyed. He is facing years in prison if convicted on the racketeering and sex trafficking charges he faces when his trial begins next month. His lawyers argued after his arrest last September that Mr. Combs should be free until the trial. Motion after motion, and 3 hearings were devoted to arguments over whether he posed too much of a threat to the community and to witness tampering, which I think was the deciding factor, y'all. 3 judges decided he did. So Mr. Combs, who has pleaded not guilty to the charges, has been forced to make do at the long-troubled facility that houses more than 1,100 inmates. and is beset by a reputation for attrition among its guards and violence within its walls. The government has depicted Mr. Combs in court papers as the boss of a violent criminal conspiracy that committed kidnapping, arson, and drug crimes, while enabling Mr. Combs' sexual abuse of women. Mr. Combs' lawyers have asserted that the charges actually center on consensual sex with long-term girlfriends. The defense has acknowledged that Mr. Combs has had complicated relationships with significant others, as well as with alcohol and drugs, but has argued that those troubles do not make him a racketeer or a sex trafficker. As he prepares for his trial, the music mogul has been staying in an area of the jail known as 4 North, a fourth-floor dormitory-style unit where roughly 20 men are housed. The unit tends to hold high-profile inmates, including, up until recently, Sam Bankman-Fried, the cryptocurrency mogul who was convicted of fraud. Other common detainees in 4 North are government informants, such as former gang members the government wanted to separate from the general jail population. When Mr. Combs was first arrested, his lawyers expected that he would be assigned to the jail's special housing unit, a restrictive designation that typically means spending 23 hours a day inside a cell. The conditions in 4 North are far more lenient. Gene Borello, a former inmate who said he was placed there because he helped the government convict members of the mafia, said that compared to other units in the jail, you have nothing to worry about. Inmates are generally free to move around the unit, which has rows of bunk beds, televisions, a microwave. There are multiple check-ins each day at one's bunk, overseen by correctional officers. The bathrooms have stalls. The inmates take meals at tables inside the unit's common area. Inmates do not have access to the internet, but they can watch movies and listen to music on tablets that are available for purchase in the commissary. Previous high-profile occupants of the unit include Gino Garcia Luna, a former top law enforcement official in Mexico, and Juan Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who shares a lawyer with Mr. Combs and is awaiting trial in the same jail. Mr. Bankman-Fried, who is appealing his fraud conviction, was in the unit with Mr. Combs until last month when he was transferred. Shortly before his relocation, Mr. Bankman-Fried spoke in a video interview with Tucker Carlson, who asked about Mr. Combs. Quote, "He's been kind. It's a position no one wants to be in. Obviously, he doesn't. I don't. As you said, it's kind of a soul-crushing place." Mr. Combs meets with members of his legal team frequently, sometimes in a conference room off the common area of his unit. He was provided a laptop without Wi-Fi at his lawyer's urging to work on the mountain of evidence that prosecutors have turned over before the trial. He can use the laptop between 8 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. each day in the unit's visiting area or in a room reserved for inmates that take video calls. The trial in Federal District Court in Manhattan is expected to last about 8 weeks. Opening statements are scheduled for May 12th. Inside the detention center located on the Brooklyn waterfront near a recycling facility, male pretrial inmates wear brown jail clothes. There is a rotating food menu. The second Friday of the month, for example, means lasagna, as well as spinach and salad. The commissary stocks snacks like Snickers, $5.95 for a pack of 6, and Cheez-Its at $3.65 each, as well as toiletries and other items like radios and watches. Inmates are allowed to spend up to $180 every 2 weeks using money that family and friends can funnel into their commissary accounts. Packets of mackerel, known as Max, operate as a kind of currency between the inmates. They are on sale in the commissary for $1 each. For Mr. Combs' unit, visitors are allowed on Tuesdays. Phone calls are capped at 15 minutes each and can be monitored by the government. A leaked clip of Mr. Combs' call with Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, includes snippets of Mr. Combs encouraging Ye to make new music and promising to call again.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. That's it.
I know now.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for just taking care of my kids, man. Because ain't nobody reached out to them. Ain't nobody called. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody. You know what I'm saying? That meant so much. You know what I'm saying? That you reached out to them and took them under your wing while I'm in this one. And I appreciate you, Bird up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you so much.
You're real from the front line. You know what I'm saying? It's wicked, wicked, wicked. So you be careful.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing for them. you out there, you feel me?
Yeah. I hear you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, have some fucking fun.
Yeah.
Have no fun. Get behind the mic, have some fun. Chop up them samples, get back on your big dance vibe.
Yeah.
Have some fun, get back to smiling.
Yeah.
These other motherfuckers, they're wasting your time, B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Wasting
understand.
your motherfucking time, you know what I'm saying? So put that love in your heart, man, and enjoy yourself, man. When I get out there, man, I'm gonna see you tear down the stadium. I need to see you back on that stage. And you actually rapping and performing and everything. I be dreaming of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time. It's time for me to just grab the mic and get back on. It's like I love music again. It was a time when it's just like everything was so frustrating. I can't explain it, but yeah.
Jump into your bag, man. Jump into your bag. We're gonna have years and decades to fight this motherfucker. Right now, enjoy your life. It's coming from me, from God to you.
Right.
Enjoy your life. Fall back in love like you've been shy. You're coming up to Daddy's house and motherfucking rock studio and just chop the shit like you're in that FC 1200 out next to the FCC. And have a good time and say the world and all the bullshit, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I love you, man. I appreciate you. And thanks again. And I'm gonna see you soon, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna be. You gonna definitely beat this shit. Yeah.
Yes,
sir. And that's it.
That's it, and that's all, baby. But I'm gonna make sure I call you back or something. It'd be good to hear your voice again.
Yeah.
Like 59 more days before trial, so I'll definitely be touching in to tap into your energy or something.
Yeah.
Play me some shit over the phone, give me some fucking life. This shit fucking sad. I fuck daddy in jail. This shit is fucking sad.
It's insane.
The devil is a liar. Word up, nigga.
Coming out though.
Yeah, man. But I love you once again, man. I'm gonna let y'all go and get back to some fun, man. I don't want to bring your vibration down.
Never.
Keep it in a high frequency, man. And you keep doing everything you're doing, man. You got that freedom. And when I get out and I get that freedom, whew,
Right.
I'm not caring about nothing but motherfucking being happy. I want you to feel that.
Yeah.
I want y'all to have that for yourselves, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. That's it. You raised me, even when I didn't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel the love, Jay. For real. I feel the love. For real. It means so much to me. This right here is crazy. You be careful out there because they definitely trying to end us. You feel me?
Yeah.
They can't do it. They can't do it. They ain't going to do it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to beat this shit and get next to you.
Yeah.
We're going to raise our family and then become the kids that we're supposed to be. You feel me?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
But words can't explain how much it means to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like being left for dead, and only one person coming to do anything to get you. And that's the level of appreciation that I have. But just like taking care of my son, that's some like next up big brother shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't have to do that. It was taking my son and like, damn, man, coming a big brother father thinking to him means a lot, you know?
Man, I appreciate that, man.
Crazy. With no care, trying to rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the way you are as a father, man, it's just like I look up to the relationship that y'all got. You know, I just always love the way the connection y'all had, or this connection you got.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, you know, man, the love and it just means so much, bro. For real. I see it in your face. You know what I'm saying? I'm being able to hug you and thank you and show you for the rest of your life how much you appreciate it and always mean.
Man, thank you, man. Thank you. But I just feel like as a community, like we got to take the responsibility to, you know, just for us, just all of us. It's like we a family. Everybody has been taken in by this fame, media, music, everything. No duh.
I thought we was all family, man. I really thought that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, you know what I'm saying? I got, you know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't always we spoke up for everybody, you know. You know, I ain't bitter or nothing. I'm just telling you how it is because you're the only one, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're the only one that came to get me, that's all I can do is say, like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every time everybody try to attack us, I'm always proud of it. You're the only person that spoke up, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just felt that energy. It's like something was channeling through me. You know how I be when I like get in that mode and it's like, gotta do it.
Yeah. Thanks for the short job look too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. We gotta keep that going. When I got my website, it's ready.
Brad Rouse, a consultant to criminal defendants who landed in the Brooklyn jail on drug charges in 2008, spent a year in the dormitory-style unit, one floor below where Mr. Combs is staying. The difference between communal living and isolation is vast, he said. Just being able to interact, play chess, and talk makes all the difference in the world. For years, defense lawyers have objected to the conditions at the Brooklyn jail, which has taken on more of a burden since the closure of the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan in 2021. Last year, a federal judge described the conditions at the Brooklyn facility as, quote, grim, citing complaints about extended lockdowns, understaffing, and delayed medical care. Federal prison officials said they have been working to address the complaints and take their duty to protect its inmates and staff seriously. Mr. Combs' lawyers have not publicly taken issue with the living conditions in 4 North, but they have objected to the government monitoring of its communications and a search of personal notes that were being kept inside Diddy's unit. Last year, prosecutors said that during a pre-planned sweep of the jail meant to uncover potential corruption and contraband, an investigator took photos of some of Mr. Combs' personal notes. That included innocence material such as reminder of family member's birthday and inspirational quotes, along with notes that the government argued were evidence that Mr. Combs was trying to obstruct the prosecution, including one relating him directly to someone to, quote, find dirt on 2 alleged victims. The evidence shows the government is using Mr. Combs' detention to spy on him and invade his confidential communications with his counsel, that from the defense. Prosecutors defended the search as within the law, but said they would not use any of the notes against Mr. Combs. A judge ruled that his rights had not been violated. The dispute provided a small window into Mr. Combs' communications from jail. According to prosecutors, Mr. Combs bought the use of another inmate's phone privileges by directing others to pay into their commissary accounts on some of those calls. They said he strategized about using public statements to affect the potential jury pool's perception of him. They also said he has tried to contact potential witnesses through 3-way calling, which allows him to reach people outside his approved contact list. Prosecutors said Mr. Combs organized the video later posted on his Instagram that shows his 7 children wishing him happy birthday with Mr. Combs on the speakerphone. After it was posted, prosecutors said Mr. Combs, long known for his attention to marketing, monitored the post analytics from jail. The defendant has demonstrated an uncanny ability to get others to do his bidding, employees, family members, and MDC inmates alike, prosecutors wrote. The defense said Mr. Combs' communications from jail are far from nefarious. His modes of communicating, including by tapping into other inmates' allotted minutes, are widespread practice, his lawyer argued. They asserted that Mr. Combs was not trying to obstruct the prosecution, saying repeatedly that he intends to face the charges against him head on. The stakes are high. Mr. Combs has been arrested several times before, but never spent any significant time in custody during those cases. Now he's approaching his 8th month. If he is convicted, Mr. Combs will face the possibility of spending the rest of his life in federal prison. And look, I gotta say, he has a lot more perks in there than I thought. Hell, I didn't know you could get tablets in prison. That's crazy to me. But we'll move on. And another bit of news came out just on April 22nd, which is only 3 or so days from this recording, and a Jay-Z rape accuser, that then 13-year-old girl that accused Jay-Z and Diddy of raping her, she's fighting to get a lawsuit dismissed against her from Jay-Z. Let's get into it. The woman who accused Jay-Z and Diddy of raping her when she was 13 years old is now taking legal steps to try and dismiss the lawsuit Jay-Z filed against her. Jay's accuser, who first sued him for rape as a Jane Doe, files the new legal docs Tuesday to dismiss the defamation suit the music mogul filed against her and her attorney, Tony Busby, in Alabama. In new legal documents, the woman claims Jay-Z can't sue her over the claims because she made them in court documents and are therefore privileged, adding the interview that she did with NBC was based on her claims in the court docs. The woman claimed Jay and Diddy raped her in New York back in 2000. She ultimately dropped the lawsuit, and Jay-Z then sued her and Busby in Alabama, where she lives. The woman now wants Jay-Z's lawsuit dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be filed again. Busby previously filed a motion to get Jay's lawsuit against him dismissed, claiming they struck a deal and Jay reneged, an allegation his camp said was bogus. And in my opinion, I don't think they're going to dismiss his lawsuit against this person. In that article from TMZ, and we'll move on to April 24th and an article that came out in AOL.com. And it's in regards to some demands that Diddy's lawyers are making, and will the judge grant those demands? Let's get into this one. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers are pushing back against the federal government's early request ahead of trial. The music mogul's legal team has responded to the prosecutor's request about which evidence should be included or excluded in court documents filed in the Southern District of New York. The judge ruling on these requests will shape the entirety of Bad Boy Record founder Sean Diddy Combs' trial, set to begin with jury selection on May 5th. Prosecutors and Combs' team are arguing over evidence that can make or break either side's case. Prosecutors appear to be setting up much of their case ahead of time, while Combs' lawyers say the government is seeking sweeping decisions too soon. Combs' criminal trial is set to begin in less than 2 weeks. The 55-year-old Grammy-winning hip-hop mogul is on trial for 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, and 1 count of racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Combs' legal team is looking to iron out details around the government's use of anonymous accusers, particularly the use of pseudonyms for victim number 3 and victim number 4. Arguing allowing these particular accusers to remain unnamed impacts Combs' right to a fair trial and face his accusers publicly, and that the government's reason for keeping them anonymous isn't strong enough. Prosecutors also want broad permission to use statements made outside of court, which are typically not allowed, using several legal exceptions, including those made by alleged co-conspirators, Combs' employees, and prior statements from accusers. Combs' lawyers argue that each should be reviewed case by case during the trial. And some other evidence or testimony in question: the admission of a 911 call from an alleged burglary victim of Combs. The government's attempt to exclude evidence of Diddy's consensual sexual encounters, personal background, or, quote, good acts, and the Combs team use of a rebuttal expert if a government expert is allowed to testify. And what's a rebuttal expert, for those that may not know? Someone that can refute what an expert says. And if you've listened to the Murdaugh trial, they actually had, for example, 2 crime scene guys that reconstructed the crime scenes, and the defense actually presented their guy first, and then the prosecutors had another expert who was actually, in my opinion, almost won the case by himself, and he testified, and it was to refute what the other expert was saying. So that's what a rebuttal witness is. And we'll move on. Why Diddy's lawyers, prosecutors are arguing ahead of trial, including that 911 call. So prosecutors are looking to use evidence from a December 2011 911 call from a man reporting a break-in, which prosecutors claim Combs committed. Combs' lawyers say that it's inadmissible. Prosecutors don't want Combs' team sharing Combs' prior sexual encounters where consent was present. But Combs' lawyers argue consensual sexual encounters would be used to rebut the government's racketeering claims. The government is also seeking witness testimony from Dr. Dawn Hughes, a clinical and forensic psychologist who is set to explain to the jury concepts and patterns of domestic and sexual abuse. Combs' team wants to offer its own witness. Dr. Alexander Barty, a psychiatrist, said to disagree with Hughes' opinion on certain patterns and how they are typical in such cases. And all of this, y'all, has to be ruled on quickly. April 23rd, host 97fm.com came out and said that Diddy appeared unrecognizable in a court sketch. Quote, Diddy is nearly unrecognizable after spending months in jail awaiting his sex trafficking trial. A recent court sketch from a hearing in New York showed the music mogul with completely gray hair, a scruffy gray beard, and a thinner appearance. Though cameras were not allowed during the proceedings, sketch artist Jane Rosenberg captured Diddy sitting beside his attorney in noticeably different form than the fans are used to. The court appearance came as Diddy tried unsuccessfully to delay his upcoming trial due to new charges being added to his case. The judge denied the motion, pushing the case forward despite mounting developments. Neither Diddy nor his legal team had spoken publicly about his physical or mental state while being held at the Metro Detention Center in Brooklyn. However, Diddy recently scored a small legal victory. A judge has granted him and his team access to early drafts of a memoir written by his former girlfriend, Cassie. The book, which hasn't been released, became a point of contention after Diddy subpoenaed Cassie, requesting all drafts, journals, emails, and communications related to the memoir. His team argues that the drafts may include inconsistencies that could help discredit parts of her story. While Cassie and her attorneys argued the documents were not relevant, the judge allowed Diddy access to versions already held by prosecutors. However, the judge denied his request for more personal records, including Cassie's diaries, emails, and bank statements. According to Diddy's legal team, Cassie once told the mogul that she wrote a book about their relationship and allegedly offered to sell it to him for $30 million to stop the release. This claim added yet another twist to the already high-profile case. And I guess he does appear nearly unrecognizable. Dude's in jail. He's not going to look like he does when he's leaving one of his many mansions, right? But hey, I'm not mad about it. And here's something else interesting, and this just came out April 24th of 2025 by News Nation, and it references the Met Gala in New York and the fact that Diddy's trial starts the same day as that Met Gala. What does that matter? Well, let's get into it. Eagle eyes are on the lookout for who actually shows up this year at the Met Gala, which is being held on May 5th, the first day of the Sean Diddy Combs trial for sex trafficking. Combs, once a regular at the Met Gala, will instead be in the courtroom fighting for his freedom with his former friends and allies absent from not only his side, but also the Metropolitan Museum, all except LeBron James, who is hosting the gala. To be fair, Combs did try to get the date of his trial moved to after the gala, but a judge denied that request. Prosecutors say Combs coerced and abused women for 2 decades, using his power and prestige as a music star to silence victims through blackmail, violence, including kidnapping, arson, and physical beatings. There were some uncomfortable mumblings about the guest list for this year's Met Gala. After the Metropolitan Museum announced that its spring 2025 gala would be themed superfine, tailoring black style, people started looking closely at the guest list. While attendees aren't announced beforehand, the host committee includes, and I'm going to go through this, and I don't know if it's, maybe I'm just out of touch, but I don't know a lot of these people. Andre 3000, Chimamanda, I don't know who that is, Jordan Castile, Dapper Dan, Edward Enninful, Jeremy O'Harris, Brandon Jacobs, Spike Lee, I know him, Audria McDonald, Angel Reese, I know Angel Reese because she played at LSU, Sha'Carri Richardson, of course, the Olympic gold medalist sprinter, and another LSU alumni, by the way, Kara Walker, and, of course, I know Usher. Usher had some experience there with Diddy as well. And it goes on to say the gala and ensuing exhibit will focus on the history of the black dandy and the way peacocking goes beyond aesthetics to empowerment. Other names mentioned LeBron James, Chris Brown, and Kevin Hart, who was seen interviewing a woman in a bathtub at a Diddy party in the past and has since tried to distance himself from the mogul, are also expected. After Diddy was arrested, a video resurfaced of LeBron James saying, quote, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." However, the NBA superstar has not been linked to any of Combs' alleged crimes. None of these men have been charged with any wrongdoing. Eagle-eyed viewers will also be looking to see if former Diddy pal Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce attend the gala, as they have done in the past. But most associates of Diddy, or now former associates, are said to be nervous about whether they will be mentioned in court and whether or not they attended the white parties or freak-offs. Either way, the irony of the two events happening on the same day is apropos. And the last thing I'm going to go over today is I just mentioned Diddy tried to delay his trial and it was denied. That was on April 18th. I'm just going to touch on that. This from Reuters. A U.S. judge on Friday denied Sean Combs' bid to delay the upcoming sex trial by 2 months. The U.S. district judge said the hip-hop mogul made his request too close to the trial. Jury selection is scheduled to start on May 5th, with opening statements on May 12th. I cannot wait to hear that. Combs, 55, has pleaded not guilty to 5 criminal counts, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Prosecutors with the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office say Combs used his business empire to sexually abuse women between 2004 and 2024. Combs' lawyers say the sexual activity described by prosecutors was consensual. In a court filing on Wednesday, Combs' lawyer asked the judge to delay the trial because he needed more time to prepare a defense for some new charges that were just brought April 4th. And I told you about that. That was when they added to that original indictment against Diddy. Diddy's attorney also said the defense needed more time to review emails it wants an alleged victim to turn over. And he's talking about Cassie. Federal prosecutors were opposed to any delay, writing in a Tuesday court filing that additional charges be brought earlier this month did not amount to substantially new conduct. They say Combs was not entitled to the alleged victim's communications. At Thursday's hearing, the judge also granted prosecutors' motion to allow some alleged victims to testify under pseudonyms at the trial to protect their privacy. The article goes on to say, also known during his career as Puff Daddy and P. Diddy, he founded Bad Boy Records. We know all this. Combs has been in jail in Brooklyn since September. After the hearing ended, Combs briefly turned to the courtroom audience to speak with his mother and other supporters, one of whom was wearing a black sweatshirt reading, quote, "Free Puff." And he said to him, quote, "I love you all," blowing a kiss before being led away by U.S. Marshals. So it's about to heat up. And I promise you, I'm going to keep you better updated, hopefully, than anyone else. Thank you so much for listening. Check out the Patreon, early commercial-free releases, bonus episodes, tons of files, and quarterly guests for our top-tier Patreon celebrity members. We call those our global celebrities. I couldn't do this without them. Absolutely could not do it. They are why we exist. Thank you so much. And until next time, for exposed, scandalous files of the elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.